All right, let's dive in. Today we're going to tackle a topic that sounds kind of scary: signed rational numbers. You know, when you've got fractions, decimals, and then you throw in those positive and negative signs, it can feel like a real mess. But trust me, by the end of this, you're going to see how simple it really is.
So, what actually happens when fractions and those negative signs collide? It's a kind of problem that can make you just stare at the page, right? It looks way more complicated than it is. But I promise you, there's a super simple way to cut right through all that confusion.
And here's the thing, the secret sauce, if you will. It is so much simpler than you think. You're not learning some crazy new type of math here. Nope, you're just combining two things you already know how to do. Think of it like snapping two puzzle pieces together that you didn't even realize fit.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll combine what you know. Then, I'll give you the one rule you have to remember. We'll put it to work with multiplication, check out a real-world example with decimals, and then we'll wrap up with your new math superpower. Let's do it.
All right, first up, combining what you know. We're going to start from a place of strength, building on a foundation you've already got.
Think about it. You've got these two skills in your toolkit already. Over here, you've got integer rules. You know, stuff like -5 plus -5. You've got that down. And over here, you've got your fraction rules, like how to multiply 1/2 by 4/5. Easy enough. All we're going to do is bring these two worlds together. Okay, moving on to the one rule to remember. Now, lean in for this one, because this is the single most important part of this whole explainer. Seriously, if you walk away with just one thing today, this is it. It's the key that unlocks this entire topic. I'm not kidding. Once you get this, all that confusion just melts away. There's one simple, super powerful rule that governs everything, every single time.
And here it is, the golden rule. You ready? The integer rules always win. That's it. That's the whole secret. Before you even think about multiplying the fractions or adding the decimals, you deal with the positive and negative signs first, and you use the integer rules you already know to do it.
So what are those integer rules again? Let's do a super quick refresher, just for multiplication and division. It's easy. If the signs are the same, so a negative times a negative or a positive times a positive, your answer is going to be positive. If the signs are different, a positive and a negative, your answer is going to be negative. Simple as that.
All right, section 3. Putting it to work. Look, theory is great and all, but let's see how this thing actually works in the wild. It's time to solve our first problem.
Okay, so here's our problem. -1/2 times -4/5. See? We've got fractions, we've got negative signs, but we're not going to panic because we have our golden rule.
So, let's just follow the process. Step 1, and this is the most important step. Check the signs. We have a negative times a negative. What does our rule say? That's going to give us a positive answer. Awesome. So we know our final answer will be positive. Now we can literally just forget about the signs for a second and just multiply the numbers. 1 times 4 is 4. On top, 2 times 5 is 10 on the bottom. We get 4/10. And the last step, of course, is to simplify.
And we land on 2/5, a positive 2/5. See how easy that was? We handled the signs first, then we did the fraction math. The integer rules won, just like we said.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Section 4 is all about a real-world view, using decimals, because sometimes this abstract math makes a lot more sense when we can make it tangible.
So, here's the next problem on the docket. -4.5 plus 2.1. Now be careful. This is addition, not multiplication. So the same signs positive, different signs negative rule doesn't quite work the same way. But the core idea of thinking about the signs first, that is still absolutely key.
And for addition and subtraction, I've got a fantastic little trick for you. I call it the money analogy, and it is a total game changer. It's simple. Just think of negative numbers as money you owe somebody. It's a debt. And positive numbers, that's money you have, or money you're using to pay back that debt. So let's try it with our problem. The -4.5, that means I owe someone $4.50. The positive 2.1, that's me paying them back $2.10. So after I pay them, do I still owe money? Yeah, for sure, but I owe them less, right? That just makes sense. Now let's look at the actual math. When you're adding and the signs are different, you just subtract the numbers. So 4.5 minus 2.1 gives us 2.4. Then you just ask which number was bigger or heavier to start with. The 4.5 was. And since it was negative, our answer has to be negative.
So our answer is -2.4. And look, that lines up perfectly with our money analogy. You still owe $2.40. When the real-world logic matches the math, you know you're on the right track.
And that brings us to our final section, your new math superpower. You've seen the rule, you've seen it in action. Now let's just lock it all in so you can take this with you.
Okay, so here are the key takeaways. First, remember you're just starting with what you already know, integers and fractions. Second, and most importantly, the golden rule, the integer rules always win. Third, always follow the process. Deal with the signs first, then do the numbers. And fourth, use those little analogies, like the think money trick, to make it real and double-check your work.
And really, that's the whole shebang. You now have a super clear, really simple, and powerful way to handle any of these problems. So the only question left is, now that you have this new math superpower, what problem are you going to solve first?